My name is Evelyn Ross, and I am 68 years old. And the morning my Social Security vanished, yes, vanished, I had exactly $8 and some coins in my purse. $8. That was all that stood between me and absolute panic. I remember staring at the ATM screen, my breath fogging the glass, feeling the world tilt in a way that didn't feel survivable. My monthly deposit, the one thing I thought was untouchable, simply never arrived. If you're over 60, you know that Social Security isn't just a deposit. It's the thread that holds everything together. Medications, groceries, rent, gas for an aging car. And when that thread snaps, it feels like your entire life drops through a trapdoor you didn't even know was there. But listen to me closely. I didn't just fix this. I fixed it in a way nobody told me was even possible. And yes, anyone our age can use what I found. Just don't go yet. This story gets darker before it gets better, but what's waiting on the other side is worth every second. I swear to you, there is a real solution. That morning started quietly, almost comfortably. I had my usual ritual, a warm cup of chamomile tea in the blue mug my daughter bought me years ago, the one with the tiny crack on the side that I always twist away on my lips. The sun was sliding through my kitchen blinds, hitting the little glass bird on my sill just right. Those peaceful mornings after 60, we cling to them. They feel earned. I was planning my week, making mental notes. Call the pharmacy, stretch my back before the cold settles in, clip the grocery coupons before Tuesday. I wasn't thinking about disaster. Why would I? Social Security always comes on the third Wednesday. Always. But there was one thing I still didn't know, something that had already started ticking under the surface. And by the time I found out, it was almost too late. Around 10 a.m., I drove to the ATM. I wanted to withdraw $40 to pick up a prescription copay. Nothing special, but when I slid my card in and waited for the usual welcome screen, something felt off. The machine blinked longer than normal, like it was hesitating. I remember frowning, pressing my knuckle against my lips, whispering, "Come on, please don't do this today." Then the screen loaded, and the number I saw punched the air out of my chest. Balance, $31.16. Not the $1,324 I was expecting, not anything close, just $31.16. I froze. My fingers hovered uselessly in the air. My first thought wasn't even logical. It was emotional, embarrassing. I kept thinking, did I misremember the date? Did I mess something up? Am I losing it? You ever have that moment where your mind grabs the most shameful explanation before the reasonable one? If you're over 60, you know exactly what I mean. We're always scared someone will think we're slipping. I checked the date. I checked the deposit history. I checked again. The deposit wasn't pending, wasn't delayed. It simply wasn't there. And then I saw a line I didn't recognize. Hold active, pending review. A hold on Social Security? That makes no sense. They're supposed to be reliable, predictable, my one stable piece of ground. I felt the first spike of real fear then, the kind that hits the stomach first, twisting it into a knot so tight you feel a little sick. But what I didn't know yet was that the hold was just a beginning, and the reason behind it was something no one warned me about. I sat back in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. A mother with 2 kids in tow walked past me. A man carried grocery bags across the lot. Life kept moving while mine felt like it had collapsed in on itself. And here's the part seniors rarely admit. It wasn't the money itself that scared me. It was the realization that I didn't have a backup plan anymore. At 68, there's no, oh, I'll just work overtime or I'll grab a weekend shift. Life doesn't give you that flexibility at our age. And that's what makes these moments feel like free fall. But I'm getting ahead of myself because what happened next made everything worse.
I decided to call Social Security right there in the parking lot. Rain had started tapping on the roof, that soft, cold drizzle that makes everything feel heavier. I dialed the number. I waded through the endless recorded menu. By the time a real person answered, my heart was pounding so loudly I could barely hear. "Ma'am," the agent said, "your benefits have been placed under administrative review due to conflicting information in your records." "Conflicting information?" I repeated, feeling the world tilt. What does that mean?" "I'm not authorized to see the full details," she said. "It may be related to identity inconsistencies. A notice should have been mailed." Mailed? A letter? A letter I never got? My breath hitched. So I can't access my money? Not until the review is cleared. How long will that take? Another pause. Too long. I can't say, ma'am. You know those moments when your body goes cold all at once? Like the blood just drains from your face. That's what hit me then. I whispered, "But I need that money. I need it to live." She repeated the same line as before, each word duller than the last. "There's nothing further I can see on my end." I ended the call with my hands shaking. Rain blurred the windshield, turning the world into streaks of gray. I sat there, watching drops slide down the glass, thinking, why me? Why now? What am I supposed to do? But still, there was something I hadn't realized. Something buried under all that fear. The problem wasn't the missing deposit. It was the reason behind the hold. And that reason was about to hit me with the force of a freight train. That night, I tore my apartment apart, looking for any letter, any notice I might have missed. My cat, Millie, darted from room to room, startled by the chaos. I opened drawers, checked under piles of old receipts, shook out the junk basket by the door. Nothing. Around midnight, exhausted and terrified, I sat at my dining table, staring at a stack of mail, blinking back tears. The overhead light flickered, humming softly. I rubbed my eyes, thinking maybe I was missing something obvious. Then, I noticed a single envelope wedged between two magazines. It was bent and slightly ripped on one corner. I pulled it free. My stomach dropped when I saw the sender. Social Security Administration. I tore it open, my hands trembling so badly the paper ripped in half. Inside was a notice stating that someone pretending to be me, had attempted to file a claim change, a change that triggered the hold on my benefits. Someone had tried to reroute my Social Security. For a moment, I couldn't even breathe. My mind raced so fast I couldn't catch a clear thought. Someone had my information. Someone had tried to take the one income source I relied on. And the system that's supposed to protect people like us, froze everything. It was identity fraud. But not the kind you see on the news, not the dramatic kind. This was quiet, targeted, precise, the worst kind. I pushed the letter away like it was something toxic. And here's the part you need to hear. When this happens to someone over 60, it hits differently. There isn't enough time to recover. There isn't enough energy to fight endless phone calls and paperwork. There isn't a safety net to fall into. But I wasn't defeated. Not yet. Because just when I thought I had no more options, something unexpected happened. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I would have ignored it, but something, instinct, desperation, maybe both, made me answer. The voice on the other end was not at all what I expected. And what she told me? It changed everything. But what happened after that call? That was the hardest part. And if you've ever felt fear wrap around your ribs and squeeze, you'll understand exactly why. My hand hovered over the phone as it rang, and I froze, caught between disbelief and instinct. My heart pounded like a drum in my chest, each beat louder than the last. I thought about ignoring it, pretending everything was fine, and going back to the empty kitchen, but something deep inside me, maybe desperation, maybe both, made me pick up. "Hello?" I whispered. "Mrs. Ross?" said a calm, steady voice, one that somehow cut through the storm of my panic. I blinked, my hands tightening around the receiver so hard my nails pressed into my palms. I don't understand. My deposit never arrived. My Social Security check, it's gone. I don't know what to do. Karen didn't skip a beat. Her voice remained calm, measured, almost grounding. "Mrs. Ross, you're not alone. What you're experiencing is serious, but you called at the right time. There's a process we can follow to secure your account, restore your benefits, and prevent this from happening again." I swallowed hard. "Prevent? How?" My voice cracked. The kitchen suddenly felt too small. I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the clock, and my own ragged breathing. It felt like the world had shrunk to just me and this line, and that if I let go, everything would slip through my fingers. Karen explained slowly, and every word made my stomach twist. Someone had attempted to reroute my Social Security payments, someone pretending to be me. Even though the attempt hadn't fully succeeded, it triggered a freeze on my account, which is why my deposit never appeared. I felt my knees weaken. I whispered, How could this happen?"
Identity fraud targeting seniors is more common than most realize, Karen said. But because you called promptly, we can secure your account before any changes go through. There's a higher level verification process we use for situations like this, but it requires your personal presence and multiple documents. It must be done within 24 hours. I felt the air leave my lungs. 24 hours. My mind scrambled. What if I couldn't gather everything in time? What if the attempted reroute processed while I was fumbling through paperwork or stuck in traffic? I pictured my checking account vanishing before my eyes. My stomach knotted, and for the first time in days, I felt real panic. But beneath the fear, determination sparked. I was 68 years old. I'd survived wars of a different kind, health scares, lonely winters, financial tightropes, and I wasn't going to let this steal my independence. Not today, not ever. By dawn, I had everything ready. Passport, birth certificate, marriage certificate, utility bill, and a printout of my last verified deposit. I packed them into my old canvas tote, the one I always carried to the farmer's market years ago, and rehearsed every word I might say. The kitchen smelled faintly of my forgotten coffee, the mug chipped but still comforting in my hand. I whispered to myself, "You've got this. You've survived worse." The drive to the office felt endless. The sky was overcast, and slick puddles mirrored the gray clouds. My hands gripped the wheel tightly.
Every stoplight was a test of patience, every car in front of me a small obstacle threatening to delay this fragile lifeline. I checked and rechecked my documents in my bag, each time convinced I had forgotten something vital. My mind flashed through worst-case scenarios, someone else claiming my benefits, my rent unpaid, prescriptions delayed, the humiliation of asking for help at my age. When I finally walked into the Social Security office, I felt an unexpected calm settle over me. It wasn't relief yet, that would come later, but a sense that for the first time in days, I was doing something real to fight back. A clerk called my name, and I followed her to a small office. The supervisor, a woman with kind but serious eyes, gestured for me to sit. She explained the situation in detail. The attempted reroute had come from another state, one I had never visited. Someone had accessed my personal information and tried to redirect my payment. If I had waited another day, the deposit could have been processed without my knowledge, and correcting it might have taken months. My chest tightened, my pulse racing. I imagined that sum, my lifeline, vanishing before my eyes, and a cold wave of fear swept through me. Then the supervisor leaned forward and said the words that finally lifted some of the dread. "Because you came in today, we can secure your account permanently. You will undergo our identity protection verification process. After this, no one can change your account information without appearing here in person with all the necessary documents." I blinked, disbelieving. Could it really be that simple? That powerful? Karen had promised a solution on the phone, but hearing it in person made it feel real. Step by step, I followed their instructions. I provided my documents, answered verification questions, and watched as they entered information into the secure system. Every detail mattered. My date of birth, my social security number, my mailing address, even the color of my first car, which they asked for as part of a security question I hadn't even remembered. 2 hours later, they handed me a confirmation sheet. My account was locked against any unauthorized changes, my benefits would be restored with the next scheduled deposit, and I was effectively shielded from future attempts at identity fraud. I held that sheet in my hands, feeling a mixture of relief and disbelief. The weeks of panic, the nights led up nowhere, the helpless trembling, suddenly it all felt like a distant storm I had survived. Driving home, the sun finally broke through the clouds, the streets glimmered with remnants of morning rain. I rolled down my window, letting the fresh air fill my lungs, and for the first time in weeks, I felt the weight of fear lift. Every sound, every sight of movement, every rustle of leaves felt like proof that I could reclaim control over my life. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, a plate of simple pasta in front of me, my favorite chipped blue mug warm in my hand. I reflected on everything that had happened, the panic, the missing payment, the letters I never received, the call I almost ignored, and realized something vital. Fear is only temporary. Action is permanent. We may be older, we may feel vulnerable, but we are not powerless. I thought about the women like me who might face the same threat and never call, who might lose their benefits quietly, alone, feeling ashamed. I wanted them to hear this story, to know there is a way out, that even when the system seems complicated or indifferent, there are steps we can take to protect ourselves, and most importantly, that it is never too late to reclaim control. I am Evelyn Ross, 68 years old. I survived a direct threat to my Social Security benefits, and I fought back. I learned a method not widely advertised, but available to anyone over 60 who acts quickly and deliberately. And now I know stability, independence, and security are not privileges. They are rights, and we can defend them. If you're watching this, if you have ever worried about identity theft, lost benefits, or financial fraud, know this: you are not alone. Share your story. Stay alert. Take action. Because if I can reclaim my life and my peace of mind after weeks of fear, so can you.